Hey everyone, welcome to the Powersports Talk podcast, brought to you by Motovan. I'm your host, Éric Ménard. Each episode we bring you stories, insights, and conversation from across the powersports industry, from the people who live it to the brands that drive it. And today on the podcast, we have Mark Quintero from System 3. Hi, Mark. How are you?
Good. How's it going, Eric? How are you doing today?
I'm good and excited to talk about tires because, without tires, nobody would go anywhere. So
that's a fact.
But System 3 is relatively new in the industry. You know, you have some old brands that everybody knows that have been there for years. You guys are fairly new.
I would say fairly new. About 2017, 18 is when we came around. But you may think we are fairly new, but the founder behind the brand and the team that's behind the brand, we've been around for quite a while. I'd say there's about 30 plus years of experience behind the brand in tires and wheels in the power sports space.
And what led them or the owner of the company to start that business? Because it's a very competitive market.
It is. Our founder, Craig Peterson, started this brand. He had experience all the way dating back to racing ATCs and quads back in the early 80s. And then he rose to the ranks of becoming the president of ITP for many, many years. And that's where he met a lot of relationships with the Palladino family and from Motovan through those channels. And in 2018, decided to start another brand out there, and that was the birth of System 3. And System 3, a little story behind the name. Craig kind of, when he's thinking of designing a new tire or a wheel, the three pillars that he stands on is traction, strength, and style. So those three systems, the three pillars, were something that he always stood on, and that's where the System 3 name came from.
What is the positioning that you guys chose? Are you trying to do a bit of everything in the power sports, or you're just trying to get to a niche market?
We are primarily focused on the UTV segment. We don't dabble in ATV. We don't dabble in like the smaller stuff, smaller sizes, and nothing really below the 27-inch market. Everything is 27-inch and above for us. We like to be a premium brand, and we're also not a truck and Jeep brand that has come into the power sports market looking to take advantage. We have always been about power sports, always driven to develop products, tires and wheels for the power sports market.
How does the process of developing a new tire go? It's such a wild concept because we get it, it's round, it's in rubber, but those tires now, they are so performing well in different situations. How do you test them? How do you develop everything?
Well, System 3 likes to pride themselves. We like to pride ourselves on having a tire and wheel for just about any terrain in the country, whether it's mud, sand, racing in the desert, high-speed desert racing, trail. We have something for everyone. And when it comes to developing a tire, look at the need in that certain area, in that certain market, whether is there a need to go after developing a new tire for the sand market. We typically actually ask a lot of questions from our customers, our dealers out there. What are the needs? What are the trends? And if we see something that needs to be met, then we go after and we start designing and talking about it. And we work with our internal team here. Our founder, we talk to our designer, and he feeds back things to the engineers, and we kind of all together have input with bringing something to market.
We've seen a lot of development over the years, but what you guys see in the future in terms of new technologies? What's coming in the market for tires? Is there any room for improvement?
Yeah, absolutely. I think in the UTV market especially is that we're seeing heavier, faster UTVs being brought to the marketplace. We're seeing UTVs now that are capable of speeds of over 100 miles an hour off the showroom floor. So what we are having to do as a tire manufacturer is to make sure that our tires are strong enough, tough enough to handle these vehicles and the punishment that they're going to put them through out there. We also do a lot of testing and developing with race teams down in Baja, in the United States, in desert racing series, and that really puts a lot of punishment on the products, and we get to see where we need to improve and how we should improve. And I do see improvements on needs for bringing UTV tires to a higher standard, um, using more better products, better ingredients, if you will, stronger ply cords, heavier duty ply cords, steel belted things, such and such, because you are starting to get to a level of weight and speed of cars, full-blown race cars, the weights. UTVs back in 2012, 13, when they started coming about, they're much lighter, slower, so you didn't need to have that such robust tire or wheel, for example. So now we're having to step things up.
How do you it's how do you make a tire perform when you go from like 5 miles per hour climbing rocks and then full throttle at 100 miles an hour? Is just completely different of a task for a tire. How do you conjugate these two aspects?
So like I said, we have System 3 has a tire and wheel for just about any terrain in the country. And just to that your point, we have the RC 500 for an example. It's called the rock crawler. So we have a tire specifically designed to go after the rock crawling market we have a RC 500S edition, which is a soft compound. So that soft compound conforms to the rock. It is meant to be at a lower air pressure. It's meant
that's
to be
the guys we see in Moab, like rock crawlers.
Correct.
Crazy hills.
Yeah. You're climbing rocks, super technical. You're not going very fast, but you need that tire to grip and claw and conform to the rocks and to the terrain in order for you to really stick to those rocks. And then in an example of like high speed stuff, we do have a tire like the RX 600, which is designed for high speed desert racing, high speed trail riding, because at high speeds in a UTV, you need to be able to trust that tire at those high speeds. Say, for example, you're going 80 miles an hour, or you're going 100 miles an hour, and you got a sharp turn coming up, and you need to get down to 80, 60, 50 miles an hour. You need to be able to trust that tire to predictably slide that car into a corner and not fight you, not give you feedback, not put you on your lid and cause you to roll. If you were to use that rock crawling tire in that scenario in the desert, you would grab an edge and you would roll. Yeah. So I don't recommend people need to really realize that you need to truly have a tire out there for the specific terrains that you are going to go out and do. Are there tires in the market that kind of do everything? Yes. We have those tires as well that will allow you to kind of do just about everything and have a little bit of all-terrain kind of covered. Yeah. But we do have those specific tires that really find their niche into the market that you are into. And like I said, with sand and snow, and I mean, you can look in the background here. I mean, you got the SS360, that's a sand tire. You have our XT400, that's a mud tire. Where are you going to go ride? And that's something when I pride myself when I go into dealerships across the country is that I ask questions like, if a customer comes to me, or if I'm at an event or a show in a dealership, a customer asks me, what tire do you recommend? And I ask them, well, what do you ride and where do you plan on riding? And based on their answers to me, I will give them my suggestion on what they should have.
And you've been in the business of tires for how many years?
Well, quite honestly, I've been in the tire business since I was a little kid because my family had an automotive tire shop, and I grew up sweeping floors and working, changing tires in my family's automotive tire repair shop. And then my passion was motorcycle racing, and my dream was to always work in the motorcycle industry. So I got into Powersports and worked for a distributor. So I kind of worked my way up through the ranks and got in with System 3. Or got in with Craig Peterson, the founder, about 12 years ago, I'd say. And the rest is kind of history. It's kind of funny that my family is in the automotive tire segment and I'm in the off-road tire segment.
Yeah.
But tires have always been kind of part of my life, to be perfectly honest.
Would you say you don't sell a tire these days like you used to?
Um, there's a lot of options out there for customers.
It
A
seems
lot
to
of
me it's way more complicated today because there's so many,
Yeah.
categories, and it's
Yeah.
such a fine line.
Yeah, you're very point spot on that. It's there's a lot of options out there for customers. There's a lot of categories. Consumers now have a lot of options, and I think consumers are very educated now on where they're going to look, who they're going to look to. I feel that when customers look to System 3, we are a brand that is core. We are very focused on power sports. We're very focused on the UTV market. Again, we're not the truck and Jeep brands that are out there that develop truck and Jeep tires, but then they have a little small division that does the power sports stuff. This is all we do. This is all we focus on. The team here, we eat, sleep, and breathe the UTV world. Or on the weekends, we're out riding just for fun, or we're testing during the week, or developing, or talking, and it's just something that we take a lot of pride in what we do here. So I feel like consumers, when they come to our brand, is they know the quality, and then we stand by a lot of customer service. There's a lot of options out there, and something that we pride ourselves on is a lifetime structural warranty on our wheels, for example, and that's very strong in our market, and helps us kind of differentiate ourselves against some of the other brands out there, and customers really feel that they get a good value with that lifetime structural warranty.
Gives confidence in the products for the customers.
Correct.
If the manufacturer, endorses it that way, it's you can't beat it.
Correct.
And are you planning of, going the other way? You were saying some Jeep guys are doing ADV tires. Are you planning on maybe going into that market?
No, there's no plans to go on that market. Do I wish that we would? Yeah, because I own a Jeep myself. And do I go on the weekend sometimes to go take my Jeep out and go off-roading? Yeah. Would I love to have my own tires and wheels on my Jeep? Of course. But no, we're very laser focused on the UTV power sports market.
What's the difference between a Jeep driver and a UTV driver?
Well, we both love dirt. We
Yeah.
both love off-road. But Jeep drivers typically are a little slower technical stuff. They like the bigger the tire, the kind of better. UTVs tend to go a little faster through obstacles in the desert, in the off-road, but there are starting to become a lot of similarities, because there's a lot of UTV enthusiasts that like technical riding, that need tires that are almost like a Jeep tire, for example. But there's also the UTV customer that likes to go really fast, and we're talking 80 plus miles an hour through obstacles, and a Jeep just can't do that. A Jeep can't go 80 plus miles an hour unless
you need a budget.
Yeah, you need to build almost a full race style Jeep with suspension that is very, very expensive. So there's some differences, but it is cool in the UTV segment that you can buy a UTV off the showroom floor and literally in its stock form go out and ride in the desert or off-road and achieve speeds of 60, 80, 90 miles an hour without having to put all this extra stuff on it.
Super punishing for the machine also.
Yeah, but it is key and critical to have the right tire for the certain terrain that you're going to go out and do it. So I think, there are UTVs coming out there with good OEM tires, but I feel that the aftermarket provides better options and higher quality options than you're going to get with stock tires.
Definitely. And you were saying earlier that the consumers are more educated these days, but what's the percentage of people that are really aware of a good tire will make a difference in his ride? Would you say 50%?
I would say at least 50 to 75% of UTV customers here in the US, one of their first aftermarket purchases for the UTV is going to be tires and wheels. that's kind of the foundation of the UTV. And I quote unquote call it the gateway drug to the UTV accessory addiction. Because once you start with wheels and tires, it doesn't stop. It just, you need to go harnesses, and you want to go mirrors, and you want to go stereo system, and you want to go roll cage. But tires and wheels are the foundation. The right tire and wheel package is going to set that car off, that UTV off. And that, in my opinion, and I feel that that is a pretty fair percentage of customers that's their first purchase of what they're going to go for first, and then they build from there.
And as a manufacturer that wants to sell in Canada, how important is it to have a distributor that's reliable and has experience like Motovan?
It's extremely important. I feel that we're definitely have a good reach here in the United States with our distributor here, but having a key premier partner in Canada is also very important. And that's something that we do strive to have and achieve with Motovan. And we've had a long-standing relationship with Motovan throughout the years that dates back, before the birth of System 3 was even a brand.
Mm-hmm.
We have a strong relationship with the Motovan family, and we like to continue that relationship and build on it. And here's a little insight: is last time I was sitting down with some folks from Motovan, is found out that System 3 is was one of the only tire brands that they carry in the UTV segment that is increasing in sales, that's seeing continual growth. So that's very important. That shows me that the Canadian market sees the brand as a premier brand, and the customers, the consumers, are gravitating towards our brand versus some of the other brands.
Do you think the Canadian consumer is a bit different from the American one? Or they have the same needs, or they like the same things? Maybe the terrain is different.
Yes and no. I mean, we all love dirt. We all like to go out and play. We all like to go fast, have a good time. There's no difference there. We have that in common for sure. The terrain is different. And I've spoke to many Canadian enthusiasts, and then some of the sales representatives in Canada and dealers in Canada. There are certain restrictions too on trails. You can't go super wide on some of the trails, so that limits the faster, bigger cars that they have in Canada. There's certain tires that work in Canada, in the Canadian market, and there's certain tires that just there's no market for them versus here in the United States. But I do feel we all love to off-road. We all are united in off-road, and we love the community. But I do like to get feedback from the Canadian enthusiasts to hear what they have to say and what they need. And I try to have meetings, biannual meetings with the Motovan team to ask those questions, so I can continue to help develop things for their market specifically, because we do see a lot of growth opportunities in the Canadian market.
And other than Motovan, how do you get feedback from the consumers? What are the channels you use to get information as what are their needs? You go to events, shows?
Yeah, events, shows. We have an event, a dealer meeting coming up in Canada here in July with the Motovan team. And that's an opportunity for me to ask not only the sales reps from Motovan, but also ask the dealers what their customers are asking from them. That's a great opportunity to ask. I spent a lot of time, at least 2 weeks out of the month, traveling here in the United States, going to the Powersports dealerships all across the Western United States, and I ask those questions as well. I also attend a lot of events throughout the year on my schedule, that I go to these off-road events, whether it's in the sand or in the dirt or rock crawling, and I talk to the consumers and ask them questions like, what are you looking for? What do you need? And what are you seeing? Things like asking those questions really do help us develop tires. And through those conversations with customers, enthusiasts, and dealers or sales reps, we have developed tires based on the feedback that we've got from those consumers.
And what do you think would be your main advantage over the other manufacturers that are doing a bit the same things, same products as you are?
Like I said, we're a small but mighty team. We're very core. We're very driven. We're all good operators here under the brand, and we are able to pivot very quickly. Where I see that some of the other bigger manufacturers that have to communicate with their engineers overseas, or it takes a lot of stuff through their red tape or paperwork that they have to go through, we kind of cut that out. We don't necessarily need that. I can go straight to my designer and talk to them and say, hey, this is what I heard, this is what I'm seeing, can we do this? And they can say yes or no. And if it's a yes, then we'll green light it and we'll go, and we can get a tire fairly quickly and develop something fairly quickly.
Now let's talk about wheels, because you do tires, but you also offer wheels. What's that market like? Is it different from tires? Do people buy the whole thing in System 3, or they mix and match?
That's a great question. Yes, here at System 3 we do both. We pride ourselves on having quality tires and quality wheels as well. I prefer customers to have both, both our wheels and tires. That's, to me, that's the perfect package, right? But yes, you do have options to mix and match if you so choose to. But I feel that customers really gravitate towards our wheels because they're, the style, the look, the design. We have a wheel, we have beadlock wheels, we have flashy wheels, we have wheels upwards of 24 inches for our mud customers. So, and we also make tires upwards of 44 inches. I mean, you go from mild to wild pretty quickly. I mean, a 44-inch tire is a big tire.
It's expensive too.
Yeah, you need a big wheel to go with that. But what I think the best thing to key in on with the wheels is our lifetime structural warranty. That is something we pride ourselves heavily on, is having one of the best warranty programs in the power sports industry. And customers really see a lot of value with gaining a lifetime structural warranty on their wheels. So if you break it, crack it, bend it, we'll stand behind that wheel and send them a replacement.
Wow. Is that rare in that industry? Because I don't hear it.
Yeah, it's not the most common, and it's not something that companies really key in on. But I really pride ourselves on being very vocal about that and placing. I want the dealers to talk about that and highlight that when they're selling our brand to the consumer. That's why I would feel, if I was a consumer going in and going to buy a tire and wheel package, what stands us apart from the competition is that you want to buy that System 3 tire. Why not buy that System 3 wheel? And it offers a lifetime structural warranty, and the other one doesn't. Why would you not go with us?
It's like a win-win. And we
Correct.
know it does happen, because sometimes you haven't seen that rock and you're full speed and you just hit it and you break everything. So having that thing in your pocket is good.
It is.
And how do you build a lineup of wheels? Because it's round and it's you have that look, but other than that, you have to educate the consumer. What are the main differences in wheels?
Well, all of our wheels are cast aluminum wheels. Providing heavier load rating, better structure integrity, things like that are key in developing or picking the right wheel, what you need. We have, like I said, our beadlock wheels are primarily focused for UTVs that are high speed things. Also, a beadlock wheel creates security. And this is something a little bit of, I guess, wheel education. Consumers are like, well, why do I need a beadlock wheel? Well, say, for example, if you get a flat out on the trail and you don't have a spare, having a beadlock wheel allows that beadlock to lock onto that tire, and you could limp that car back to your camp, back home, back to your location that you need to go.
Back to life.
You can't go fast, but it allows you to limp, so that tire's not going to come off the wheel, and you're not going to be kind of stuck out there. So that it's kind of an insurance policy, if you will. We also offer non-beadlocks. With non-beadlocks, there's weight savings. Some consumers are concerned with weight, and they want something that's very lightweight. And there you go. You go with a non-beadlock wheel, and it can be very lightweight, but also look good. And we have some beadlock or some faux beadlocks, if you want to call it, that look like a beadlock, but it's not. We have quite a few different options for consumers.
how many people choose the wheels because of its look, and how many choose it for performance?
I would say 80-20.
For looks,
80% of the consumers go for look.
Yeah.
Another for performance. I would say, but also there's a big element that is price. There's wheels out there for some of the other brands that are super high price. I feel like we come into the market at a very good value with a high quality and a good lifetime structural warranty.
And in that 20% that chose it for performance, how many really need that performance? Because we see in motorcycles, guys with those dual purpose bikes, like to the neck of equipment, and they ride on the road.
It depends. I mean, some consumers really need that beadlock, or depending on what they're going to go do. Some people just want to have the look of having the beadlock on there, or have all the bells
security,
and whistles.
the peace of mind.
Peace of mind, I would say. Some people come to me and go, well, what's the lightest wheel you have? And I ask them, well, why? Are you racing? Like, if you're not racing, like, who really cares? Like, in my opinion, but to each their own. Every consumer has their needs that they feel need to be met, and whatnot. And I think that that's something that that's their option, that's their choice, and we want to give them options and give them a good quality product, but also give them reassurance with that lifetime structural warranty on our wheels.
I've seen those SEMA shows with ATVs and UTVs build. How much does that give you more headroom to sell, out of this world wheels? Does that create it? Did it create a market?
It depends on the region, depends on the area. Like I said, in the southeast of the United States, there's a big mud market, and they like big giant tires, mud tires. And as you can see, like in that picture right there,
wow.
Yeah,
huge.
They got some mud tires, and they like to go play in the mud, right? Well, they need those big wheels, to go on those big tires, and it can get pretty extreme, and consumers out in those areas are asking for bigger. I mean, like I said, the biggest we make is a 44-inch right now. Consumers are asking us to make a 50-inch.
What?
Yeah, so
must be heavy.
They are heavy. Yeah, imagine shipping 4 50-inch tires across, to the consumer, whether it's in Canada or whether it's the United States. I mean, that's going to come on a pallet, on a truck. Like, it's not just something the UPS driver wants to.
It's an expensive shipping.
Yeah, exactly. Expensive product. FedEx. I mean, yeah, and when you get those bigger tires and such, you need portal systems to turn those tires. It gets crazy, the expense and what you're gonna get yourself into.
Well, it's a hobby, so people, they invest in their hobby, and the bigger the boy, the older the boy, the bigger the toy. Yeah.
I like that. That is true.
That's what we say here.
Yeah.
Hey, Mark, nice talking to you. We've learned a lot. It's nice to see also your side of the story, about tires, because there's so much choice nowadays that it's fun to see people that, develop the products and talk about tires the whole year. So, way more than we do. So thanks for your time.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's the Motovan podcast for today.
Yeah, you're welcome, Eric. Thanks for having me out.
Thanks.
Yep.